Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling quite a collision, really. It's shaking up the art world, auction houses, even the law books.
Yeah, it's this whole complex intersection of artificial intelligence and, well, traditional aesthetics.
Definitely. And it's more than just a trend.
No, absolutely. It feels more like a fundamental crisis of definition.
Mm.
We're pulling from some pretty deep sources today.
Mm.
Aesthetic theory, computational philosophy, ethical design papers.
Hmm.
Thinkers like Iovane, Fried, de Miranda, Roche.
Okay.
And the goal, really, is to unpack how AI art challenges, everything we thought we knew about creativity, about intent, ownership.
So, our mission for you listening in is essentially to provide a framework. How do you evaluate art when the conscious author isn't really there and it's all down to algorithms?
Exactly. Synthesizing these complex ideas into something memorable.
And where should we start? I guess with the shockwave that's hitting hardest right now.
That makes sense. The practical impact, AIart isn't just like interesting anymore, it's winning.
Winning big competitions, getting high prices at auction.
Yeah, and that forces the issue immediately.
Okay, let's unpack that first then. Section 1, authorship, originality, and the market.
Right. Because when a computer program, maybe guided by a user's prompt, creates something that beats human artists, well, you immediately have to ask, what does originality even mean here?
Fried really zeroes in on this. We tend to think of originality as conscious novelty, something springing from one person's unique vision.
Yeah, like a singular genius idea.
But AI offers, well, statistical uniqueness. It can generate a combination of pixels or sounds never seen before, sure. But it's based on probability, on algorithms, not some deep conscious breakthrough.
So if it's just statistically unique, how do you assign credit or ownership? That's this whole distributed authorship thing, isn't it? It gets messy.
Totally messy. The creativity, where is it the training data, the engineers, the person writing the prompt?
Or some combination of all three. Right. And because AI relies so heavily on recombining existing data, can we truly call the output an original manifestation of, like, individual creative will? It's basically the ultimate remix machine.
Okay, but hang on. What if I spend, say, 6 hours crafting the perfect prompt, tweaking parameters, generating hundreds of images, curating the final one? Isn't that human effort, that curation, the new form of artistic intent? Isn't my prompt crafting the originality?
That's a strong argument for the human element, yeah.
Yeah.
But the sources kind of push back. They'd say, while curation is definitely valuable, the system's reliance on past data fundamentally changes what the output is.
But the art market doesn't seem too bothered by the philosophy.
No. The market sees money,
Mm.
AI pieces are selling, and that's forcing the legal world to scramble and play catch-up.
Yeah, the practical side is unavoidable. Our existing IP laws, they just weren't designed for this. They assume a single human creator.
Exactly. How do you handle copyright when the author is a mix of data points, code, and a human user?
It highlights a massive gap in current policy.
It really does.
Yeah.
The fact that AI art is being bought and sold demands new rules that can actually handle this distributed creation, moving beyond traditional ideas of ownership. The market's success is dragging this out of academia and into the real world, into courtrooms.
Okay, so that market pressure brings us back to the core philosophical issue. What actually separates a human artist from this incredibly sophisticated remix machine? Let's shift to that idea of the disappearance of intent.
Right. Because when we look at, say, a painting from the Renaissance, we interpret it based on assumed intent, right? The artist's context, emotions, vision, we assume deliberate choices.
Every brushstroke meant something.
But with AI, that deliberate, conscious choice is, well, absent. The system creates novel outputs using pattern recognition algorithms. It's analytical. It selects features from data to match a prompt, but there's no subjective experience, no feeling behind it.
So the AI is an amazing pattern matcher, a brilliant technician, but not a conscious author with intentions. How are we supposed to find artistic meaning then? How do we judge quality if nothing was ever meant?
That's the real sticking point. Our traditional aesthetic judgments lean so heavily on that link between the art and the creator's, inner world. De Miranda points out this lack of a unified conscious author leaves viewers struggling.
We don't know how to fit the AI's technical origin into our usual ways of interpreting art.
Exactly. It exposes these huge gaps in aesthetic theory, which kind of assumes a human subject is doing the imagining, the feeling.
The machine is just solving a problem, makes something beautiful, not expressing an emotion.
Precisely. Which is why we might need new ways to evaluate it, perhaps focusing less on intent and more on the formal qualities of the work itself. We can get into that later. But first, we need to talk about the data that shapes those forms.
Ah, yes. Let's turn to the ethical dimension, specifically the biases baked into the training data itself.
Yeah, these systems learn from massive data sets reflecting human culture, warts and all. And human culture, well, it's packed with structural inequalities.
So the AI learns our biases too.
Roche makes a really strong case here. The data isn't neutral. And these biases pop up directly in the AI's outputs, reinforcing things like racial, gender, or cultural stereotypes.
Can you give an example?
Sure. If the training data is overwhelmingly based on Western art history or specific Western ideals of beauty, the AI will naturally reproduce and even amplify those narrow standards. It might ignore visual styles or motifs from other cultures entirely.
So if you ask an AI for, like, a beautiful portrait and its data is skewed, you might just get variations on a very specific, culturally limited theme.
Exactly. And the crucial point here isn't just that it's a technical glitch. It's that these outputs actively reinforce real-world systemic inequalities.
That's quite profound. So fixing it isn't just about tweaking the code.
According to Roche, no. Diversifying data sets, running debiasing algorithms, that helps. It's necessary, but it's not enough to tackle the root structural problems.
So the fix needs to be systemic, integrated from the start.
Absolutely. Things like fairness, inclusivity, cultural sensitivity, they need to be part of the fundamental design philosophy, not just patches added later. This needs what the sources call syn work.
Syn work.
Yeah, basically dedicated interdisciplinary collaboration, bringing in perspectives from, say, marginalized communities right into the design process.
So the goal is responsible governance built in, aiming for art that reflects a genuinely broader, more equitable range of human experience from the get-go.
That's the design imperative they're calling for.
Okay, let's loop back to the philosophical limits then. We said the AI is a master technician. Miranda notes it excels at manipulating artistic data selection, decomposition, digitization. It achieves incredible precision, statistical novelty.
It does. But that skill is also its constraint, right? It's fundamentally limited because it relies on recombining what already exists. This really throws into relief the difference between technical mastery, which AI has, and genuine creative innovation.
Innovation meaning going beyond the existing patterns.
Exactly. Transcending paradigms, inventing truly new forms. AI tends to optimize. It finds novel combinations within the rules it knows, but it doesn't really break the mold in a philosophical sense.
And this is where Miranda brings in that term, crealectic intelligence. It sounds quite academic. What's the core idea? Is he saying AI can make perfect art, but not art that gives you goosebumps?
That's a great way to put it, actually. Crealectic intelligence refers to that dimension of creativity tied to things like sublimity, awe, wonder, deep imaginative questioning.
The stuff that makes art feel profound, not just clever.
Precisely. That element of genuine surprise, maybe even discomfort, that challenges you. Current AI, driven by efficiency and utility, just doesn't seem equipped for that. It's an optimizer, a goal seeker.
And this isn't a new idea, is it? Philosophers have linked creativity and wonder for ages.
Oh, absolutely. Thinkers going way back, like Aristotle or Descartes, saw wonder and the sublime as fundamental to both creating and appreciating art. But the technical focus in AI aesthetics has often pushed aside these effective contemplative dimensions. It's all about efficiency.
So the challenge for AI designers is huge. Shift from just optimizing towards frameworks that actively try to integrate these feeling dimensions, the ethical, the contemplative, if they want AI to engage more deeply with human creativity.
Otherwise, yeah, they might remain incredibly sophisticated remix tools, but not true partners in innovation.
Okay, so we've covered the lack of intent, the ownership mess, the bias problem, this missing wonder element. What does this all mean when you're actually looking at an AI piece? How do you make sense of it, given this distributed authorship programmer, user, AI system?
Well, it definitely means we need interdisciplinary tools. Art history alone won't cut it. Neither will just code analysis. We need to combine philosophy, maybe literary theory, technical understanding.
This is that Sophimatics idea again.
Yeah, trying to blend philosophical, ethical, and computational insights together into something cohesive for interpretation.
Could we use something like formal analysis, like in literature? If we can't analyze the artist's intent, maybe we focus purely on the structure, the patterns, the form in the output itself.
That definitely offers a foothold. Formal analysis can give us precise ways to read the output, focusing on its structural or aesthetic qualities. It lets us analyze what is there, technically.
But it doesn't solve the core ambiguity.
Exactly. The ambiguity about who is responsible, who intended what, that remains central. We're really grappling with how agency emerges in this human-machine collaboration.
So the final takeaway seems to be we need robust new ways of interpreting art to handle this distributed emergent agency.
And the work of Free de Miranda Varoche really emphasizes that need for synwork, that collaborative, interdisciplinary effort to bridge the gap between old aesthetic theories and this genuinely transformative technology. We need to enrich both our philosophy and our design at the same time.
Okay, so to quickly summarize this deep dive for you, we've seen AI drive at least three major shifts. First, the kind of death of singular conscious intent in art, forcing us to rethink how we judge it.
Second, that fundamental challenge to originality and intellectual property, really brought to light by AI's success in the marketplace.
And third, the urgent need for ethical, inclusive design right from the start to counteract those biases lurking in the data.
Yeah, these insights together really demand we evolve our very definitions of art and authorship. The old rulebooks just don't seem to fit anymore.
So we talked about current AI maybe lacking crealectic intelligence, that capacity for awe, for the sublime. If philosophers are right, that wonder is fundamental to the creative experience. What does it mean for us, for our experience of art, when something truly moving might be created by a machine focused purely on optimization and utility?
And perhaps the final thought to leave you with. What would it actually take to deliberately design an AI, not just for efficiency, but one capable of genuinely inspiring that human sense of awe, to make us gasp?
That shift from technical novelty to maybe philosophical wonder, that seems like the next frontier.
It might just be the greatest challenge and opportunity in this new era of creativity.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.